What up, guys? Jason Geiman here with King of Pressure Washing, and today I have on the channel somebody that was on the channel a long time ago, a lot younger, way younger. He looked like a little kid back then when he was on back then. Shut up over here. So we're going to have a good talk about sales and just kind of how to be kind of the mental side of stuff and whatever. I don't know what this will go down, but we're going to have fun with it a little bit today. So DJ, this is DJ Carroll. Tell me a little bit about yourself. Who are you? That kind of thing.
Yeah, man. So thanks for having me on first and foremost. Shout out to everybody that's watching. Make sure you hit the share button, share it out. So my name's DJ Carroll. A lot of you guys may know me by Coach Carroll. And there's probably some videos on the channel. If you go back and look back in, 2009, 2010, when Mike Chrysley had the channel still, that was actually my mentor. That's who taught me how to power wash and soft wash before it was even a term back then. We just knew it as downstreaming. And I'm a long time follower of the channel, but also like you said, Jason, there's probably some videos with me with a little more hair deep down in the roll there on the video channel. But I started my first business my senior year of high school. It was a lawn and landscaping company called Yard Smart Lawn Care and Landscaping, and grew that to about $3 million in revenue and sold it. And then went all in on power washing and holiday lighting. And over the past, I'd say, decade, I've acquired several businesses. We actually just closed on another acquisition this past week. I think that makes it number 13 or 14 on the M&A deals that I've done, which means merger and acquisition. And I'm a student. I love reading. I love learning. One of those things that helped me the most was understanding that I don't know what I don't know. And so hopefully tonight, I can share some information and some knowledge that will help some people and help them make a little more money. But I still own EasyPro, which is my power washing company. We certified dozens of other individual contractors throughout the U.S. But we'll talk about some of these stories between there. But along my journey, I've owned fitness centers. I've owned flight training schools. I've got about 70 units of real estate. And it's just one of those things where my mantra is hustle, it's worth it, because hustling has always paid off for me. And so I'm excited to be here tonight, and appreciate you having me on, man.
Awesome, man. So tell me what made you want to start a pressure washing business?
Yeah, so it actually, Mike Chrysley, I owe it all to him. I've never strayed away from giving him props and credit. Actually, if you go to myeasypro.com and go to the About tab, it says Become Certified. And when you go there, I talk about all the stuff that Mike Chrysley taught me. And, I was mowing grass. So, I'd started out with an 89 F-150, a Walmart weed eater, and a Walmart push mower. And so, I started mowing grass, and a couple of years into it, I had found out about these online forums. And so Pressure Washing Institute. And so I met Mike Chrysley. He was in Lexington. He's like, hey, what do I do? And one thing led to another, man. I went to Prattville, Alabama roundtables ever back in 2010. And, what I realized was these guys are making, $100+ a man. I'm looking at my power or my lawn care company going, since I'm billing $35 to $45 a man hour over here, these guys are billing double. We should probably add this business on too. So while I had the lawn and landscaping business, I added on pressure washing, roof cleaning, and by the time it was all said and done, when it had become EasyPro, we still had a lawn and landscaping division, but I'd added on pressure washing, roof cleaning, and holiday lighting and snow removal. And so I had all these tranches essentially in the business. And what I realized by looking at my numbers, which is probably the first tip I'll get, you have to know your numbers. If you know your numbers, guide your business not based on emotion but based on fact. And so honestly, man, when I opened up my books and I looked at it, I was like, I'm not making any money mowing grass. The margins are razor thin. And so that's what allowed me to, package it up, sell it. We had, about 17 team members at the time, and we had some federal contracts, some state contracts. And so I decided it was best to just spin that up, sell it off, and then go all into power washing and, bill out close to $100 a man hour. And we've continued to do that since 2015.
Awesome. So what are some things that so one thing that I like about DJ is he's very good on the sales side of things. And a lot of times I think in the pressure washing world, there's a good book out there called E-Myth that, we get into that technician mindset and it's hard to get out of those other mindsets. And sales is one of the probably the hardest thing out there for people to do. And so let's talk a little bit about that right there of how do we get out of the mindset? How do we learn? What's some things that we can do to make us better at sales?
Yeah, absolutely. So one of the first things, and I was still in lawn and landscaping, but the crazy thing was I was going door to door, right? So I would go to a car dealership and I knock on the door, AKA I'd walk in, talk to the receptionist, say, hey, is the general manager here? That's a big thing. You have to make sure you get to the decision maker. You can waste a lot of time trying to sell to someone that's not the decision maker, and that's a big mistake. But then I would get in front of the guy, I'd pitch him. He'd say, hey, I appreciate you stopping in, DJ, but it's not really anything that we need right now. And I was only getting to 6 or 7 people a day going door to door. And I'm like, there's got to be a better way to do this. And so I went to, where everyone else goes, YouTube University. And I started typing out, I'm like, sales strategies. And I figured out what cold calling was. And then I was like, wow, man, this is crazy. I can reach, 18 to 20 people per hour when I couldn't even reach that many people in a day going door to door. And so I quickly realized that the phone needed to become my friend. And so I really developed a system of selling over the phone that, a lot of people don't ever really spend the time to study or figure out. But I'll tell you, I was able to grow my business exponentially because I used this thing right here instead of driving around and going door to door. And so it actually led me a couple years ago. I wrote a book called Phenomenal Phone Calls, and it's a gritty guide to closing big money deals over the phone. Because to this day, I can't say that because we're actually wrapping up a 6-figure project with a soccer stadium, but and that was from email marketing. But prior to that project, the biggest deals I'd ever closed had started with this. And I'll give you the viewers here a quick little tip. Where most people screw up is they call a prospect and they try to sell them over the phone. Prospecting via cold calls is supposed to be meant to save you time, i.e. set the appointment, right? That's where most people mess up is they ring. They're like, yeah, are you guys looking to have any power washing done? That's not the way to do it. It's hey, I'd like to come out and meet with you if you have power washing in your budget for this year and give you a property evaluation. And then set the appointment, actually go to the property and have that meeting. The phone, the only thing you're selling over the phone is setting the appointment. And that's a big mistake that I saw a lot of people make, and one of the big things that I touch on in my book, Phenomenal Phone Calls.
So basically what you're saying is we're not just going to use the phone and say, hey, I do pressure washing. I need to come and I can give you a bid right now. Let me give you a bid, right? Is that what you're kind of not saying not to do?
Absolutely. Yeah. A lot of people screw up because they'll say, hey, this is, we'll just role play, right? Ring, you answer the phone. You're like, hey, this is ABC Property Management. And I'm like, oh, hey, Jason, this is DJ. I own EasyPro. We're a power washing and window cleaning company. We have been in business over 10 years. We're 80+. They just go into a sales pitch, right? And so, or they say, ring. Hey, Jason, it's DJ with EasyPro. You guys going to have any power washing done this year? No. Okay, click. Right.
Thanks.
Exactly. And so, there's the problem with that is if you don't have a strategy behind the tactics, you're really just going to waste your time. And I'm all about the hustle. I probably live and breathe it more than anyone. But what happens is if you get so caught up in the hustle, then you're in no strategy, then you just end up wasting a bunch of time. So the hustle is important, but you've got to make sure that you got the strategy in place so that when you institutionalize the hustle, it speeds up the right processes, not just, have you on a hamster wheel.
What do you mean by a strategy? If I'm a new pressure washer, what kind of strategy do I need to have?
So you got to know what your end goal is, right? Like, I mean, your end goal, obviously, and this is where most of smart asses are like, oh, that's to make the sale. But you have to understand that you need to prospect. Then you've got to have a discovery meeting, and then you'll have a conclusion call, and then you do the follow-up. So like without that framework, you're just going to be like hustling and bustling, and that's not good. That's how you get burned out. And so when I say strategy, you have to say, okay, here's my list of prospects. I'm going to call on them. I'm going to make 18 to 20 dials per hour. In that hour, I'm going to have 2 significant conversations. And out of those 2 significant conversations, I'm going to set 1 appointment. And so now I'm going to set 1 appointment per hour. We're at 8 appointments per day. So now I can set 8 appointments on a Monday. Tuesday and Wednesday, I can go do said appointments, the discovery calls. Thursday, I'm going to build up the quotes. Friday, I'm going to set the conclusion calls for the following week. Now I've got 8 meetings in the following week where I'm going in to actually present my solution, right? We don't use proposal or quote because that's what everyone uses. We're here to provide our solution. Now I'm sitting down face to face with 8 people. I'm providing the quote to them and going over it. And then I use what's called an SOSC outliner framework. And I've got a playlist on my YouTube channel. If you just type in hashtag Coach Carroll, all one word on YouTube, you'll find my channel. But it's called Struggle, Opportunity. So SOSC, if you guys are writing this down, struggle is the first S, O is opportunity, that second S is solution, and then the C is close. And so when I go back in my conclusion meetings, I'm going to talk about the struggle they're having, mold, mildew, and algae on their buildings. The last contractor, right? So maybe some struggle. Maybe the last guy we hired, he said it would take a week, and really it took 3 weeks, and it was a huge disruption. So I'm going to touch on some of those pain points. So I'm going to find the struggle, then I'm going to provide the opportunity of how we can work together, and then I'm going to demonstrate the solution, and then I'm going to ask for the business in the close. That's what I mean by strategy. Like if you're just out here fucking dialing numbers going, oh yeah, this is Bucket Bob, would you like to have your buildings washed? Like you're going to be like every other guy that my guys sell against, and that's why we mop the floor against most competition. So hopefully that explains it a little better.
No, that's perfect. Because I think that's one thing that a lot of people don't understand of is, again, hitting that, we are their solution. They have a problem, we are the solution. We don't cause more problems, and that's where a lot of people go with the Bucket Bob, and that's what the issue of that is. Where are some good places, or where are some good things to start out to find these prospects? Are we going to hit like a certain, maybe we hit hospitals, or maybe we hit or hotels? What are or HOAs, stuff like that? What are some good ways to either find that information, or those phone numbers, stuff like that?
Yeah, I mean, a lot of that just depends on like what your market is. For being 100% honest here, 80% of people in the power washing business don't have the knowledge, the accreditation, or the front office to be able to handle doing commercial work, right? Meaning when I say front office, like you don't, like if you're going out and washing 3 houses a day at $300 a piece, you're making, $900 to $1,000 a day, and you're booked for the next 2.5 weeks. Those commercial clients, you don't have time to jump through their hoops. And so that's one of the challenges that I see a lot of guys have, is that they don't stand a chance in the commercial world because their business isn't structured yet, right? And the last thing you want to do is like go sell a big client and then piss down your leg in front of them, and then you'll never do work with them again. But when you're talking about like how do you contact these people, I mean, one thing is like making sure you have the proper equipment to do professional grade work, right? Mike Chrysler used to always tell me professional grade equipment equals professional grade results. And so a lot of times, like I see these guys that will win jobs and even bid against us. We lost a project last week and the dude was like a third of our price. That should have been a huge red flag for the property manager, for the property management company, but it wasn't. Sometimes a deal's like too good to be true, so they take it anyway. And then we go out there and the guy's like rolling around a DeWalt pressure washer, hanging off of a ladder, 3 stories up, just going to town. And so it's like, don't put yourself in those situations because we bid that project at like 16,000. And I was probably going to clear somewhere between 25 and 30% margin on that. This guy comes out at a third of our price using less equipment than what we have. I know he's not going to make any money. And so, before you get so excited, like, oh, I'm going to call these apartment managers, you got to make sure that your own ducks are in a row. And listen, guys, this is the most aggravating part about business. That either takes time or it takes money. And there's no fucking way around it. That's it. Like, you either got to have the money to be capital intensive and get yourself there, or you just have to let it organically grow over time. You do 40,000 your first year, you do 87,000 your second year, you do 150 your third year, and you just keep reinvesting that money. It took me 3 years to break 6 figures. Like I was a senior in high school. I started my business. I made $8,000 my first year. It took me 3. It wasn't until my 4th season that I broke 6 figures in gross, like we're talking gross revenue, not net. And now, we're coming off of an April where we did, 117,000 or something like that. We're doing 6 figures a month now. So I think that before you get so stuck on like, where do we get the information? There's tons of places, right? Melissa Data, there's Zoom Info is one that we really like, but they're pricey. And so again, it costs money to be in business. But there's a lot of places. I mean, fuck, dude, you could even use Google. Just go to Google and type, hey, retirement homes in my area, and then you can bang the phones and call those. But what I want, my biggest thing, Jason, is I want your listeners to be successful, and so like I don't want them to bite off more than they can chew because that only causes problems.
No, I agree 100%. As I always tell a lot of people is how do you eat an elephant at the end of the day is one bite at a time. So let me ask you a question here of, you had talked about, you've learned different things over time and stuff like that. Have you had mentors or coaches to help you get to the next level? And how has that helped you grow your business over time?
Yeah, no, that's a great question, man. And I've had a ton of coaches and I've had a ton of mentors. That's me being a coach myself. That's where the whole Coach Carroll thing comes from. Like, that's truly my passion in life. It's what I love doing. Like, I'm an entrepreneur to pay the bills and to, make sure I've got money. But at the same time, like, my life goal is to build the Entrepreneur Institute. And so let me tell you guys a quick story real quick, if I can, before I get into the, who are my coaches and stuff. But when I was a senior in high school, I turned down 8 football scholarships. I was going to be a chemical engineer, and I actually decided, hey, I was mowing grass, I was making money. That's what I wanted to stick with. And so I decided, hey, I'll do community college instead. Well, when I went to community college and I got in there and I was talking to the guidance counselor and stuff, I told them, I was like, hey, I want to take business finance. I'm like in my 3rd semester. I was like, I want to take business finance. The lady, she tells me, she goes, well, hold on a second, DJ. You don't have the prerequisites. And I don't know if you guys know what that means. It's like you didn't take the right classes yet, right? And so I'm like, all right, what do I need to take? She says accounting. I'm like, okay, that kind of makes sense, right? Accounting, business finance. And then she says history of rock and roll. I'm like, are you fucking kidding? Are you fucking kidding? I can't take business finance because I haven't had a history of rock and roll. Are you kidding me? And so, in the middle of debits and credits in accounting class and in the middle of, over here, listen to a guy tell me how awful the Rolling Stones are and how amazing the Beatles are. I quickly realized that these college professors were not the coaches and the mentors that I needed. Like, I'm not saying that no one needs them. I was just saying they're not what I needed. And so I quickly realized, hey, I need to go find people that are where I want to be in 10, 15, 20, 30, 40, 50 years. And I need to make friends with these people. And I need to just ask them the questions that I have in my head right now of, hey, man, what did you do when this happened? Hey, what about when this happened or that happened? How did you handle these situations? Because I truly don't believe that, you have to lose everything in order to be successful. I feel like business is kind of like this field with all these landmines in it. And you don't have to just go running butt ass naked through the field and hope you don't step on a landmine. You can get these mentors and coaches around you and be like, hey, bro, so where did you blow up out there? All right, cool. Appreciate that. Yo, man, hey, where did you blow up out there? Right. And so I'm trying to figure out where these people, went and made a wrong turn so that I could look out for those landmines, so to speak. And so, that came to finding business mentors. If you can go find guys that are in their 70s and 80s, they are to the point in their life now where they have pretty much acquired everything they want to acquire. And when you reach that stage of your life, you kind of become you have a sense of giving back. You want to just help others. And I'll tell you, I've met some guys at some of the social clubs and country clubs I'm a member of now that, man, they want nothing more than me just to say, hey, can you have lunch with me and just talk? And they'll just tell you. I mean, they'll give you a wealth of knowledge. And so my long-term goal as Coach Carroll is to build the Entrepreneur Institute. And I want to build an institute that kids like myself, that traditional college, didn't make sense for. I want to build this institute that kind of like the X-Men school for entrepreneurs, right? We're all messed up in the head. We don't fit society. I want to build this school that those kids can come to. And that's my life purpose is to do that. And so in the meantime, we do that through making online courses, content on YouTube, my podcast, which is called The Sales Factory, and then doing stuff like this, man. You having me on helps me hopefully give a couple of these guys. I see the chat's blowing up. So you guys make sure if you're listening to this right now, drop your questions in here. We'd love to answer those later on in the show. But that's my big thing about mentors and coaches. You got to make sure that you don't just take some mentors and coaches into your life because someone else told you that's what you're supposed to do, right? That history of rock and roll teacher, that's supposed to be your mentor, DJ, because he's a prerequisite on this freaking piece of paper that you're paying $4,000 a semester for. No, dude, I'm going to go find a guy like Mike Chrysley or Ken Finner. Ken Finner, a lot of guys don't know him. He's out of Pennsylvania. That dude taught me what tiered pricing was. That guy taught me about advertising, what customer acquisition cost was. There were just these things that have been distilled down. And then the last thing I'll add to this too, Jason, is that the mentors that you need have written most of what you need to learn in books already. Jim Rohn says all the information you could possibly ever need is written in the books you haven't read yet. That's a powerful quote.
So let me ask you a question about that, because I've been reading a lot of books here myself. I've kind of gotten to it. So what's your goal of reading books this year? How many books are you going to read this year?
So I was on track for 2 a month. I've fallen a little bit behind that, but when you have multiple 7-figure businesses, shit can go a little sideways sometimes, right? And so it's I can't just be like, time out, guys. I'm not coming in today. Don't bother me. I'm going to go listen to my audiobook. So it kind of gets put on the back burner. And I say audiobook because I use audible.com. I'm actually mildly dyslexic. And so I'm an auditorial learner. So I learn a lot better through listening versus reading. If I read a book, I have to read the same sentence 3 times and I'm still like, what the fuck's going on? I don't understand. So with the audio book, man, I do so much driving and whatnot. I can just toss that on at 1.5 speed and devour some really good books. And so, 2 a month is what I shoot for, but we're a little behind right now.
That's funny you say that, because I'm the same way. I can pick this book up and I could read a page and I couldn't tell you what's on that page. But if I listen to it, I can remember it, and it's on like Donkey Kong, man.
Yeah, absolutely.
So
it's funny. I'm looking at these comments, and Nathan Brinker just said, "Who's Michael Chrysley?" It's hilarious. Like, he's like one of the. I remember when we went to early round tables and shit, and he was the guy that was like, we're charging $300, $400, $500 for a house wash, and guys are like, "What? You're getting that much money for a house wash?" And it's just crazy. So if you just, some of his videos are still on the channel, right?
Yeah, they're all still on the channel. Yeah.
Yeah,
funny,
man, like there's a wealth.
What the funny thing is he's from Cynthiana, so he's in Lexington area.
Yeah. Oh, that guy? That's hilarious, man.
Yeah. Yeah. So, but let's go back to what are especially some books that you would highly recommend that you've read over time that you would recommend?
Oh, goodness. Let me
one or two, just one or two.
Yeah, no, I need to pull up my Audible app for that, because honestly, I've got about 77 titles in my Audible library that I've read. And I'll tell you, Keith Kalfas has probably read more books than anybody I've ever met in my life. So I'll tell you guys what I'm reading right now is Leadership by John C. Maxwell. This one's pretty cool. I took a quote away from it last week. He said, "A lot of people say that it's lonely at the top, but it's only lonely at the top for the leaders that don't take their team with them." And that was powerful, man. It's one thing to be a one-man band and to hustle and grind and get out there and like make shit happen. Trust me, starting with $300 and nothing but a hope and a dream and a prayer. I respect the hell out of that. But there will become a point in time when you're growing your company that you have to build a team. You have to rely on that team. And that's where you have to shift from like becoming really good at sales and marketing over into becoming a better leader, because that's what your team needs. And so obviously, I mean, Think and Grow Rich is always up there, with the top of the list. Everyone knows that one. But Outwitting the Devil.
I was just going to say that one.
Yeah. So Outwitting the Devil. Did you listen to that on audiobook?
I'm listening to it right now as we speak.
Oh, dude, it's fucking wild. It's crazy, isn't it?
Yes, it is.
So Outwitting the Devil is another book written by Napoleon Hill. When he wrote it, his wife wouldn't let him put it out, and then he passed away, and his wife still wouldn't put it out, and then his wife passed away, and the kids got it, and they're like, "Wow, this is a really good book. We need to put this out." But I highly recommend it on audiobook because it's like a dialogue, and it's pretty wild.
When the devil talks, it's in a different voice.
Yeah, absolutely. It's really easy to follow. But Principles by Ray Dalio is a really, really good book that I read last year. That one talks about radical transparency and radical truth. And then, anything Robert Greene, right? Like The Laws of Human Nature, 48 Laws of Power. Those are all really good. But what I try to do is I try to read a nonfiction that is skill-based, right? So like something on like sales or business or something like that. I try to read something, and in that skill base could be like leadership, which is what I'm starting to do now, is reading more leadership books. Then I try to be reading something that's personal development, right? So like Brendan Burchard's High Performance Habits is a really good book. So leadership related stuff. And then I try to read some type of historical nonfiction, meaning like something about somebody. So like I've read Titan, which is about John D. Rockefeller. I actually did a book review on my YouTube channel about that one. The most recent one I read was George Washington, Entrepreneur. And I'll tell you, man, that guy was crazy. Most people like know George Washington for being the president and fighting the Revolutionary War, but that guy was a hustler. It was pretty cool. I learned a lot out of that book. So yeah, if you guys can stick to like those three silos, something skill-based, something personal development, and something historical about an individual that you want to learn about, it's really cool, because especially with books of people that have died, it lets you be able to go back and learn about those people, and kind of they become your mentor even though they're not here, which is pretty cool.
Yep. Awesome. So tell me what has been some good ways of getting business for your pressure washing business.
Oh, wow. That's a loaded question. Okay. So good ways of getting business. acquisitions have been nice. Building a book of business based on rolling in other customer bases. You can do advertising, and when I do my seminar, social assisted selling, we talk about this. Like when you advertise, there's really only 3 areas you can advertise, right? So you can advertise to your inbound people that have never done business with you before. You can advertise to your current book of business, or you can advertise outbound, right, to people that have never done business with you. Outbound is like when you push marketing messages, email, ringless voicemails, direct mail, things like that. Inbound is making sure things like your website, lead funnels, things like that are all in place. And then internal book of business is like your customer base. Who are the people that have either done business with you in the past, or they're already in your database because they like reached out to get a quote, right? A lot of people screw up, man, because it's like they only market to the people that have done business with them. Like, nah, dude, Mrs. Johnson that like requested a quote 3 years ago, she's still going to get my emails. She's still going to get the ringless voicemails. She's still going to get the postcard once a year. Like, because I know that she may not have been my client 3 years ago, but she's still she fits the demographic because she reached out to us. And so, that's one of those things where it's like, there's so much that you can do, but with digital nowadays, man, it's so cheap. It's so cheap to advertise and get your name out there. What I find though is like most people do this right here. They're like, let's see, it's like $250, right? They're like, oh God, man, I don't know. It's like $250. I can't let go of it. Like this brings you no value. There's no value in this being in your pocket until you spend it, until you start giving it to people in the marketplace to then make wheels and gears start turning, right? Like the $250 I just spent on dinner because me and Victoria went to, Jeff Ruby's. Like, listen, she wasn't any happier because I had an extra $250 in the bank. But you best believe that when we have a couple bottles of Prosecco and steak dinner and I send that $250 over to Jeff Ruby, now happiness has occurred, right? And so like I see a lot of guys, they try to grow their budget grow their business, and they're so afraid to spend money. And that's a big no-no, man, because when you're in business, you can't be in the compression mentality, like the scarcity mentality. I call it the broke bitch mentality. Like you have to spend money, and you have to stop negotiating the price of your success. Like pay the price, man, pay the price and get to where you want to go.
Yeah. A lot of people go down that, I always say the poor mentality, or, and they won't even invest in themselves. They won't invest in their business. And that, that's what marketing is at the end of the day, is investing in your business. And if you're not willing, and as I always say, if you're not willing to invest in your business, then nobody else is going to be willing to invest in your business either. Because if you don't believe in yourself, then I'm not going to believe in you either, And
that's the thing. Yep. You got to believe in yourself when nobody else does, man. That's how you become successful. Nobody wants to cheer for you. Nobody wants to cheer for you in the beginning. You got to cheer for yourself.
And your family is usually the worst on you at the end of the day. Most of the time your family and friends are the worst ones for you, of not helping, supporting you and that kind of stuff. And so overcoming those issues can be hard sometimes, and that is definitely something that you have to overcome. And again, if you're not willing to invest in yourself, then nobody is. At the end of the day, DJ, Amazon, all these people, they all have 168 hours a day or 168 hours a week. It's how you use those hours, or it's how you're going to grow your business, or you can sit on the couch and do nothing. There's nothing special between one person or the other. Everybody has the same amount of hours every week. It's how you use those hours. What are you doing to grow? What are you doing to get to the next level? Are you gaining knowledge yourself, or are you just like, I know everything? I mean, DJ, he probably knows everything right now, and I guarantee he won't say that.
No. I always say I don't know what I don't know. Hell, I've got, the funny thing is, you talk about coaching and shit. I just paid one of my consultants $3,500 to come in for 3 days They'll be in my office Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday, and like the lights aren't out. Like we ain't broke, but it's like, there's something about an outside perspective that, I'll hire this consultant, this management consultant that's got 35 years of experience and say, hey, come in, man. Come in and spend 3 days in my office and tell me what you see. Tell me what I'm missing. Tell me the systems we don't have in place and what you think we could be doing better. Doesn't mean I've got to take it and implement it right away, but there might be some things that he's like, hey, I talked to one of your guys and he's very upset. Well, my guy may not tell me that. You know what I mean? Like he's looking for another job. What? He hasn't mentioned that. Hell, he was just in my house last weekend at the cookout. Hell, I'm just telling you, man. Like there's always opportunity to gain more knowledge, gain more information, but you have to be open to receiving it.
Yep. I agree 100%. So that is something that I am 100% of, make sure that you are investing in yourself, investing in your business, all of that. So tell me one thing that you failed in your business and one or two things that you learned from it.
In this business, you want me to tell you guys about the $500,000 worth of real estate and the 6-figure company that I completely tanked? I can share that story. No, but I don't really share that one a lot. But there's a lot of mistakes I made in the pressure washing business too, like not applying technology properly, not being a good leader. That will cost you a lot of money. But I'll tell you the story about Elite Fitness. And so the pressure washing business was actually doing really well. We were making good money, and an opportunity came up for me to buy a fitness center in Carrollton, which is where I grew up. And the guy came to me and said, hey, DJ, you're a business guy. I think you could take this thing and run with it. I'll sell it to you if you'd like. Let's work out some terms. And so we came up with the idea that, I would buy all the physical assets of the business. So all the equipment, customer list, all that kind of stuff. And then he would sell me the real estate in the building on a land sale contract. And so, which is a really good way to buy real estate, by the way. It limits your risk, which actually helped me out in this situation very well. So we hop in here, and within 18 months, we come in, we completely rebrand the place. Some of the people in Carrollton was like, this is the nicest business we've ever seen here. We completely rebranded the place, paint it. We put in a supplement store. We buy t-shirts. We start building a culture. And in 18 months, we grow this thing 300%. We go from 100 members to 300 members in 18 months. And then in walks a real estate agent one day. And he says, hey, I'm interested in buying this place. All right. He said, I'm sorry. He said, I'm interested in seeing how much it costs to build this place. I'm like, fuck, I don't know. I built it. I didn't build it. I bought it. And he goes, okay, well, thanks for your help. I was like, well, hold on a second. I'm an entrepreneur. Everything I got's for sale. And mistake number one. So he, one thing leads to another. This guy basically snakes me, says there's something in the contract. There wasn't. And the big lesson I learned out of losing this company was that you can never have too many attorneys on retainer. And so this guy, one thing leads to another. We ended up having to fire sell the equipment. I lost my ass on it. The business was doing 6 figures a year. We ended up losing the business. We had to give back the real estate. So I lost $500,000 worth of real estate in a 6-figure business in 18 months when I had just grown it 300% in the same 18-month time period. And so that's the one of the first things that all business owners should understand is you need 3 professionals in your corner. 3 professionals. And if you're watching this, write this down. 3 professionals in your corner. You need an attorney, a good business attorney. You need a good business CPA. I'm not talking H&R Block. I'm talking an actual CPA that costs money, several $1,000s a year. And then you need a really good insurance agent. Those are the 3 things. If you're going to be in business, those are the guys that cover your ass. And because I didn't have a really good, a really good person in my corner as far as an attorney until after the fact, it ended up costing me a 6-figure company and $500,000 worth of real estate. And it actually, I'd made my first $1 million by the time I was 27, and by the time I was 29, I'd lost it. And so it was rough, man. Very humbling experience.
I'd say you learned a lot out of that, didn't you?
Yeah, that was my college education there.
Because they always say you learn by your failures. So
yeah. Yeah.
So let's go to the next question here of self-limiting beliefs and disbelief doubts. What are what is maybe one self-limiting belief that you had, and how did you overcome that disbelief or that doubt?
Yeah. So I can't really say that I ever had any self-limiting beliefs. Maybe once I lost the gym a little bit, but that was in 2017. I graduated in 2007. So I had about a decade-long run where no one could tell me anything, man. I was pissing vinegar and setting the world on fire, making more money than any of my teachers had ever made. My chemistry teacher in high school, she said, DJ, I'm afraid that if you go try to be an entrepreneur, you'll never be as successful as if you just go to college and become a chemical engineer. And that was like the first chip that got put on the shoulder, because I'm like, all right, lady, you don't believe in me, but I believe in me. And so I was blessed to have a dad that taught me the hustle. Like, when I was younger, we would buy like mopeds and go-karts that weren't running, and would clean out the carburetor and fix them up and paint them and then sell them in the family yard sale once a year. And so I learned how to like flip shit and make money. And then I was also very blessed to have a mom that told me if I wanted to go to the moon, I could. She didn't put any limits on me and my beliefs in myself whatsoever. But I will have to say that one of the biggest ones I see when guys start businesses is their limiting belief on how much money is out there. Okay. And if you guys haven't watched the news, good for you. You're probably better because of it. But let me just tell you, we just sunk about another $7 trillion worth of cash into this economy. And so there is money out there. We landed a 6-figure contract, and it was a no-bid contract. I probably left $30,000 on the table with this job in Cincinnati because, I didn't realize how much money they're playing with. It's a $300 million project. Our price tag was like this big. And so a lot of times what happens is people will get in front of clients and they'll do what I call selling with your own wallet, right? They'll say, man, I would never pay $2,000 to have my house washed. And then so what do? They price it at like $1,250, or even worse, they say I would never even. There's no one that'll spend $1,000 on pressure washing. That's insane. There's no way. Holy shit! I got to price this at $500. And then the customer's like, hell yeah, $500 sounds great, right? And you guys leave $1,500 on the table. That is one of the biggest challenges that I see, especially in the contracting world, because it's very much skewed blue collar, technician mindset. That's why the E-Myth is so good for a lot of guys that follow this channel, is because they're like, I want to be the best technician in the world. And it's like, no, don't do that. Don't be the best technician. Be the best business owner. Now, let me time out real quick and do a little sidebar. If you're not a business owner, it's perfectly okay to be the best technician in your market. It's perfectly okay to build your rig, work 10 months out of the year, and make $150K a year. It's doable. Like, it is doable in this business, in power washing and window cleaning. And so don't let me pigeonhole you to think, well, DJ said I've got to be this a mega millionaire monopoly man business guy. No, that's not what I'm saying. I'm saying happiness is where it all starts at. And so if happiness for you is making a cool 85 and then taking 4 months off in the winter to spend time with your family and volunteer, bro, do you. But on the flip side of that, don't sell with your own wallet, because there is so much money out there. There's so much money in the economy. There's so much money in the world that your lack of not having enough is only your problem.
Nope.
Sorry, bro. I'm getting a little fired up here. We're getting warmed up.
No, that's 100% truth right there. I mean, I've been preaching that a lot here of you are not your customer at the end of the day. Most of these people are not your customer, you know. And that is something that I know a lot of people struggle with. And honestly, I think that that's what holds a lot of people back. And you know, that's what also scares a lot of people of, you know. And so let's go back down to the road of how did you end up getting the big job of a 6-figure job? Did you just like, what was the process of getting that job?
Yeah, so I'm actually super proud of my account executive, Jacob Eaton. So this kid started with me about 1.5 years ago. He was still in college. You know, he graduated college and he kind of came to me and he's like, hey, man, I really enjoy the company culture here. Like, I'll go ahead and, you know, I'm going to stick with you for at least the next couple of years because I'm learning a lot about business. And so I was like, cool, man, I'll keep pouring into you. And he actually took our video that we produced for Lou City Soccer Stadium the year prior and sent that out to all of these big construction companies. And, you know, I can't really disclose how we do it exactly. I can't give my secret sauce away because we're a nationwide company. But, you know, he got in through an email that went to the right person that then got forwarded to the right person on site. Next thing you know, we're in their office having the conversation. Again, we give them a really nice presentation folder with all of our flyers. You know, it's one thing to come in and say you're the best. It's another thing to come in and say you're the best and really actually look like you're the best, right? You got to be able to walk the walk and talk the talk. So they had us give them a quote, and then, you know, on the back side of it, there was a lot of time and material work that they added on once they realized that, again, we weren't going to piss down our pants when we got on the big job. And you know, we had a couple of our certified pros come in and help us on it. And tomorrow, like I said, we're got the final walkthrough and a couple of touch-ups, and then we'll be putting a wrap on it. But, you know, I also have to tell you that the amount of paperwork that's involved getting in with these bigger companies, it's insane, man. And so, you know, we have a full-time front office that manages that kind of stuff, the insurance that goes along with it. You know, it costs money to make money, and it's just a part of doing business. So it's been a blessing and a curse at the same time.
Yep, a lot of headaches sometimes, especially getting that end list up. So let's start with this question here, and we'll probably end with this one here kind of. If you was brand new out of the gate and you had $10,000, what would you do to start and grow your business?
So I'm brand new with 10 grand.
You're going to start a pressure washing business.
Okay. So I would take... Okay, so $10,000. I'm brand new. I'm thinking through the question here. I'm going to take $1,000 of it, and I'm going to go hire an attorney to form my LLC, register it with the Secretary of State, and get my federal EIN number, employee identification number, and then tell him to put the rest of the $1,000 that's left over on the books as a retainer, and I'll be in touch soon. I'd take the next $1,000 and probably go spend it in a couple of ways. So I would do the down payment on my insurance, which is only going to be a few $100s. I'd buy a few $100s worth of really nice polos that were branded and hats that were branded. Do I have a truck? Do I have a truck already?
Sure.
Okay, making it easy on me, right? Yeah. So I already have a truck that's paid for. So now I've got $8,000 left. I'm going to go open a business banking account, and I'm going to put $8,000 into the bank account. And then I'm going to ask to speak to a business banker. And I'm going to tell the business banker I'd like to do two things with them. I'd like to open up a business credit card. And then I also would like to do a business equipment loan to buy a power washing trailer. And so I would try to get another $10,000 from them in an equipment loan, and basically, obviously I'm going to plug myself. I'd go through, the certified pro training and buy the equipment that we have for that. But, and build your own trailer so that you're only out about $6,000. And so now I've got an extra $4,000 from my loan and $8,000 left from the startup money. And then I'm going to take a couple of $100 of that, and I'm going to join all the organizations in my area as far as like Chamber of Commerce, apartment associations, Rotary clubs, any of that. I'm paying the couple $100 here and there for the dues, and I'm asking for the membership list. Okay. So then I'm going to get the membership list. Now I've got, I've kind of got my stuff staged up here, right? Like I got the stuff moving around. I've got my equipment. I've got my loan. And most guys like freak out like, oh my gosh, debt, $10,000 worth of debt. Are you crazy? Why would you take a loan? I'd take a loan, bozo, because that $10,000 loan is going to be like $200 a month, amortized over 5 years. And so while I could pay $200 a month, that gets me really nice brand new equipment. Listen, I can spend a Saturday knocking doors and go do 2 $99 house washes and make my loan payment, okay? That's the only time it's okay to be the $99 house wash guy, is if you've got to make your loan payment on your equipment. And now I'm going to come back into the office. I'm going to set up my Facebook page. I'm going to buy.
The whale? He might have just. Are you still there? Well, I don't know what happened. His computer or phone might have died. So we're gonna go here. So I don't know what happened, but that was good. I appreciate DJ Carroll. You can check out his channel down here in the bottom. I put the channel down here in the bottom of Coach Carroll. And so you can go check that out also. He's gone. I don't know what happened. He must have done it. Bro has a point. Try going back to the 70s and buying money for 2% interest. But yeah, so those are some things that I would definitely like to see. And so what a lot of people have been asking me why I'm so burnt and so red. So today we went to I went to 2 soccer games with my oldest daughter, and so that's why I am so red. So if you let's see, I might actually have him back on here. All right, you died on me.
Sorry, man.
That's all right.
You got me here?
I got you. We're back up and live.
Okay. Sorry about that. I was rolling, man. I got all excited. I had a feedback error that said, DJ, slow down. You're giving them too much successful information. So I had to reset my computer. No, I'm just joking. So where I was at is, you've got now roughly $14,000. Now I've got more money in my bank account than Jason even gave me to start with. And so now I'm going to spend a couple $1,000 on Google ads, and I'm going to spend a couple $1,000 on Facebook ads. And then while I'm waiting for those things to pop off, those lists that I got from the apartment association, the realtors association, the Chamber of Commerce, those places, I'm going to spend the $7 to get my free phenomenal phone call book. You just pay $7 in shipping, phenomenalphonecalls.com, shameless plug. And I'm going to get on the phone now, and I'm going to start calling these people and saying, hey, this is DJ with EasyPro. We just joined the St. Matthews Chamber of Commerce. Just wanted to reach out and introduce myself. How long have you guys been a member? And I'm just going to start a conversation. The biggest thing is when you start a business, you got to have people to talk to, bro. Like, you can't make money by yourself. You have to talk to people. And so I would spend my time rolling through that list. And I'd say if you take that and you keep rolling the money in and parlay it up, you could probably do $100,000 in the first year.
I agree 100%. No, and that's a great point of talking about, and a lot of times of just meeting these people too, or just finding out who they are. And if they have meetings and, go meet people. A lot of times when we start a business, we don't know anybody. Especially if you don't know anybody and your group of friends aren't very successful, go find some of these people and eat dinner with. They're probably going to, if they're Chamber of Commerce, they're probably got some, they may be way smarter than you ever are, and you can get nuggets from. And, I know many people that have hooked up with people of like roofers, and they've gotten about, hundreds of $1,000s off of a roofer, and,
Yeah.
different people, or maybe a property manager. Maybe this guy owns 150 houses over here, and you're rubbing shoulders up against him, and guess what? You'll get all kind of business at the end of the day.
Absolutely, man. I think that a lot of times it's easy. I have a quote hanging up. So like in our new office, we have this like employee lounge area, right? It's like turf outside, and it's a really cool spot. But I have a giant quote hanging up on the wall, and it says, "Complaining is easy, executing is hard." It's easy to wake up in the morning and go, "Oh man, nobody called. Nobody wants a quote. Oh man, this business thing's hard. It's tough. I suck. Blah 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 blah." That's the easy part. It's easy to feel sad and sorry for yourself. The difficulty is calling 60 people in a row, and every single one of you saying, "No, man, don't call me, lose my number, I'm not interested, no thank you," over and over and over. That constant rejection. I say all the time, I can tell when a business owner didn't have any game with the ladies, because he clearly can't handle the rejection. Because if you've spent any time talking to the ladies, you've been rejected. And so a lot of times when you get on the phone, they just can't take that rejection, or they can't overcome the objection, right? Because there's a difference between rejection and objection, right? Rejection is, "No, we're not planning on doing any power washing this year. We don't even have it in the budget." That's a rejection. Objection is, "Well, our maintenance guys do it." Oh, Mrs. Property Manager, I completely understand that Jeff, the maintenance guy, does it. You guys probably think that saves you a lot of money, right? She was like, "Yeah, it does. Actually, it saves us, last quote we got was like $26,000. It's way cheaper to have Jeff do it." Totally understand. Can I ask you a quick question? Yeah, go ahead. Do you guys have any buildings right now that have like mold, mildew, and algae on them? Yeah, like building 27, 28, and 29, they're back in the woods. They've got mold, mildew, and algae on them. Mrs. Prospect, could I ask you another question? Yeah, go ahead, DJ. I got a meeting here in a second, so wrap it up. It's like, okay, Mrs. Prospect, well, would you agree with me that a leaky toilet is more important than a dirty building? Well, yeah. And that's probably why Jeff, the maintenance guy, hasn't got around to those, right? Well, yeah, you're probably right on that. Let me ask you this, Mr. Prospect. I'm going to literally be right down the street next week. Could I just stop in on Tuesday afternoon after lunch? You know what? I'll even bring some muffins for you guys. Look, if you don't like the muffins, you can throw them in the trash. If you never want to hear from me again, throw my business card in the trash with it. But at least let me stop by, take a look at your property, and give you a quote for what I think we could do it for. That's overcoming the objection versus handling the rejection. And I think a lot of guys just, one, don't have enough experience, or two, again, like you said earlier, man, they don't have enough self-belief in themselves. And so when they get that first little pushback, they fold like a house of cards and go, okay, I'll call the next person. And you can't be successful doing that.
Nope, not 100% agree with that one. All right, awesome. Any last words before we jump off here?
No, man, that's it. I appreciate it. It looks like 62 people on here. Big crowd tonight. I'm impressed for a Sunday evening. So I appreciate you having me on. You guys definitely do the scavenger hunt. Go look back through the videos. You'll see some videos of me on this channel way back when I was a little kid. But other than that, follow me on all the social media channels. # Coach Carroll. You just type it in # Coach Carroll, all one word. It'll pull it up on any platform. And then if you do want to get my book, it's the only thing I have to sell, and it's not really selling anything. I'm giving it away for free, but I'll give you a free copy of my book. You just pay shipping and handling, and it's phenomenalphonecalls.com. I don't know if you can put that in the chat or something, but phenomenalphonecalls.com. You guys can go get a copy of that. It's 44 pages, Lots of pictures. Again, I'm dyslexic, so it's not real wordy. It's straight to the point. And I actually had a guy message me from Michigan a few months ago. He said he read the book and he closed a $20,000 deal using the tactics that I teach in it. And so just love it, man. I don't write books to sell them. I write books to make a difference. And so if somebody on here grabs that thing and can go, help grow their business so they can provide for their family and give back to their community, all the better. My time this evening was well spent.
Awesome, dude. Awesome. Well, thank you for coming on, and hang on here, and we're going to jump off here. Finish this.
Perfect.